Hack Spotify's algorithm using these simple tips. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to get on Spotify's editorial playlists, how to get on high follower user curated playlists, and just hack that Spotify algorithm, all in 4 simple easy steps. We've got artists placed on New Music Friday, New Pop Revolution, Get Your Hits Together, and the list goes on, all by using these tips. Before you do anything, you need to have your Spotify profile up to date. Spotify wants people to be able to go onto an artist's profile and have everything there for them. So they're going to favor artists that have a profile that has pictures, that has a bio, has their social media linked. So before doing anything else, you need to make sure you have all those things. Make sure that you have all of your social media linked, and then you need to have an up-to-date bio. And then most importantly, you need to have press photos. These photos need to be really high quality and need to represent you as an artist, because quite often it's the first thing that people see when they go on your about section. So you want the pictures alone to be able to persuade people to listen to your music. Once you've done all these things, that's when you can fully take advantage of Spotify's algorithm. But how does Spotify's algorithm actually work? Well, it's broken down into 3 main areas. The first is natural language processing, the second is collaborative filtering, and the third is raw audio analyzation. I know this sounds like another language, but they're actually really important and they're pretty simple to understand. Natural language processing is basically how Spotify can tell what language you're singing in and what kind of people they should be pushing it out to. Raw audio analyzation is looking at the beat, the tempo, the key signature, because sometimes playlists need to have that same vibe throughout. And finally, collaborative filtering, and this is the one that you need to focus on. This is the one that you actually can fully hack. Collaborative filtering is basically checking what the save rate is, what the skip rate is, and this is the one that artists need to pay attention to. And this whole video is going to be discussing how you can hack that, because once you've hacked that, that's when you're going to be on all of the top Spotify editorial playlists. You're naturally going to be put on high follower user curated playlists, and your streams are going to fly. Your aim should be to have a very high save rate, because what Spotify does is it tests your track with the audience. So they'll be placing it on Discover Weekly playlists and putting it on top recommendations and seeing what the save rate is and comparing that to the skip rate. So let's work out how we can hack this. Let's work out how you as an emerging artist can hack Spotify's algorithm and make sure your music is getting the best exposure it can. We're going to start with the Spotify for Artists submission form. This only got introduced a couple of months ago, but the impact is huge. And we've seen artists, even on their first release, get placed on something like New Music Friday UK, all because they submitted via the form. So how the form works is you need to have access to your Spotify for Artists. And the easiest way to do this is to go through your distributor. Spotify has 3 preferred distributors, who are DistroKid, CD Baby, and The Orchard. And if you go with one of those, they will give you immediate access to your Spotify for Artists. And this is very important because you want to submit your track to Spotify well before your release date. You won't be able to submit using this form once the track is out, so make sure you're doing it about 4 weeks prior to release. And that's why it's so important that you choose the right distributor, because if you have a distributor that uploads the track only 2 days before it's out and then you submit, that doesn't give the editors a long enough time to listen to the music and discuss whether they want to place it on a playlist. So once you're on your Spotify for Artists, it will give you an option to submit if the track is on there. And if it's not, push your distributor, because this is so important. The form is very simple. You basically have to say what the genre is, what kind of energy it gives off, what country you live in, all really simple things. But the most important part is the description of the song. They simply put, describe this song for us, but what they really mean is pitch this song to us. There's only about 4,500 playlists, but there's over 40 million songs on Spotify, so you're competing with so many musicians. There are a few things that you should put in it that will make you stand out. So these things could be any support you've had in the past, so any blogs, any radio stations, any Spotify playlists you've been featured in, because they'll immediately take note and they'll immediately see that you have credibility. And then describe the song. What you need to do is explain the meaning behind the lyrics, because that might give you an angle to fit on a certain playlist. The angles can be really simple to do and a lot of artists forget about them. For example, there's a new playlist on Spotify called Out Now, which is purely for LGBT artists. So if you're an LGBT artist, you could put that in your pitch, and it could mean that you end up on one of those playlists. Definitely spend some time exploring the playlists on Spotify, because you might find that you're fitting for one that you never even thought about, because there are playlists for religion, sexuality, region. So now you've filled in that pitch, there's a chance that on release day or just after release day, you might get added to one of Spotify's editorial playlists. This doesn't just mean that your track is being submitted to Spotify's editors. It also means if you fill in that form, everyone that follows you on Spotify will have your track placed on their release radar playlist. And this leads us nicely into the next tip, which is make sure people are following you on Spotify, because this is how you're going to get your track on their release radar, on their Discover Weeklies, on the top recommendations. But getting people to follow your Spotify account is very difficult, because what are they gaining? You need to give them something in return. So what we would suggest is running a competition. What you can do is do a giveaway for some merch or some tickets to a show and tell them to screenshot a picture of them following your Spotify account, and then say that you'll pick one of those people to win. Our third tip is make sure you're getting pre-saves on your track. Pre-saves are incredibly important, because if you're getting people to stream your track and save it on the day of release, Spotify's algorithm is going to notice that you're actually getting streams immediately. And if you're getting streams immediately, they're going to push you out to more and more people because they think the track is good. So you need to get those pre-saves as early on as possible. And how you can do this is either get a pre-save link from your distributor, and the 3 distributors we mentioned earlier, Spotify's preferred ones, will be able to get you a pre-save link. But if you're with a different distributor, you can use something like show.co. And then what you need to do is put it in front of your audience. And the easiest way to do this is through social media. So you can either create a post which says the pre-save link is in your bio, or you could put money behind a social media ad. The easiest thing to do is to create a video, because videos have higher engagement on social media. So if you create a video and right at the beginning you say pre-save link in the bio, gives people that call to action. But you need to make sure it's right at the start of the video, because those first 3 seconds are so important. So once you put it in your bio on Instagram, make sure you're plugging it on all socials. And again, you could do a competition. So get people to screenshot the proof that they've pre-saved the track, and then choose one of those people to win a t-shirt or to win some merch or to win tickets to a gig. It just gives them that incentive. So if you're getting those pre-saves, you're hacking Spotify's algorithm, because they will immediately think this track is going to blow up. Because if you have hundreds of people pre-saving your song, that's proof to Spotify that your track is worth pushing out. So you've got those people following you, you've got those pre-saves, you've submitted via Spotify for artists, but now what? Well, our final tip is make sure your track is on as many playlists as possible. And here's how you do that. You're going to spend some time to find artists that are similar to you. You need to find artists that have a similar style, a similar genre, and are at a similar level in their career. Because there's no point looking at someone like Ed Sheeran because they're on all the major playlists. So once you found these artists that are similar to you, click on their About section on Spotify and you'll see what playlist they're on. And quite often you'll see a lot of user-curated playlists. And these are ones that you can go out to. User-curated playlists are playlists that anyone can make, but they also can secure followers. So there are playlists on Spotify that have very high followers, and those are the ones that you need to get your track on. So once you've found these user-curated playlists, you're going to click on the profile and you'll be able to see their profile picture. You then try and match that profile picture with a profile on Facebook, because these people are just normal people. They've just created a playlist and for some reason it's got a lot of followers. So you're going to find them on Facebook by matching the image, matching the name, and then you're going to message them. You need to be careful with this, because these people, this isn't their full-time job, they just have a playlist. So you need to just message them casually saying something like, I really like your playlist, I have a song that I think could be fitting, I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can also submit to playlists that are owned by blogs or a branded playlist by Submit Hub, and all you do there is upload your track, filter it by genre, and then click on the playlist that you want to submit to. Some of these playlists even have email addresses and Instagram accounts linked in the description of the playlist. However, you need to stay clear of any playlists that are charging. And the reason for this is because it's against Spotify's terms and conditions. So often these playlists are also running bots through their playlists to increase the artist's streams. But this is all fake, and this could lead to your profile being brought down. And I've done a full video on this explaining how to avoid these playlists, which playlists you should actually get put on, and I'll make sure to link that below. If you're doing all of these things, you are going to properly be hacking that Spotify algorithm, which means you're going to be on those Release Radar playlists, you're going to be on those Discover Weekly playlists, you might even be put on a Fresh Finds playlist, and you'll soon find that your track is going to be put on an editorial playlist, which will get you millions of streams. So that's how it works. That is Spotify's algorithm explained and also hacked. I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and if you haven't yet, turn that bell on, and we'll be back soon with more music marketing advice.